Good morning, everyone. My name's Jason Livingstone. I'm the Managing Director of Woomera, and welcome to our inaugural webinar. So let me just start with essentially who we are. I've just introduced myself. I'm a geologist. Board, Ian Gordon, David Richards and David Lind. Incredible wealth of experience and knowledge. I won't talk too much about us as the people. I think most people are relatively familiar with the likes of Ian, David and David. Had some incredible success and we are looking to repeat that. So without talking too much about this, I don't think people are too interested in this one, but we'll move on to the projects. Now, this is an overview of the projects. Now, we're concentrating on our lithium projects at this point in time, and we have essentially 3 lithium projects. Mount Catlin down near Ravensthorpe, that is where we are currently focusing. Lake Dundas, which we drilled late last year, and the Pilbara lithium projects. Complementary to that, we have the Wyloo Dome. That is a fantastic gold project in the Ashburton region. Moving on to Mount Venn, that's a gold and base metals project. The Musgraves and Labyrinth in South Australia. The Musgraves are in the fantastic Musgrave belt there, and Labyrinth is within the Hilltabak granites of the Gawler Craton. So I'll be getting into a little bit more detail on a couple of these projects, but first and foremost, Mount Catlin. Now, Mount Catlin, our project is 7 kilometres north of the Mount Catlin lithium mine. So what we believe and what we are observing out in the field in the next 2 slides will illustrate that, is that we believe that the system that hosts the Mount Catlin mine is a hell of a lot more extensive than that has been previously mapped and identified around this area. So without further ado, I'd like to get on to the next slide. And I'd just also like to say that this photo behind me as well was taken about a week or so ago. We are currently working down there, so I'll get onto the technical side of things. Now, since I started in August last year, one of my first priorities was to obviously get familiar with these projects. We do have a fair few projects in our books at this point in time. And being a geologist and certainly coming from that exploration background, it was about prospectivity initially. So we took aside what's flavour of the month and all that type of stuff and what would actually potentially deliver us value. And what we're actually observing down at Mount Catlin is observed pegmatites. These pegmatites, unfortunately the word pegmatite has connotations that it is a spodumene bearing pegmatite. However, this is a unit which displays pegmatitic textures within what is interpreted to be the Annabelle volcanics in that center photo there. So what we actually have is observations outside of the mapped zone of the Annabelle volcanics, which do trend into our ground, but what we're actually observing is that they appear to be a hell of a lot more extensive. So what we are doing, as you can see in the picture in the background and the picture in the bottom right-hand corner there, is that we're currently doing an auger drilling program. We're covering all the farmland at the moment, which covers about 75% of the tenement, which is fantastic because we've managed to develop a fantastic relationship with the local farms and the farm owners down there. And luckily, crops are off, so we're in there. So we're feverishly going off and doing that work. So yeah, we're expecting the results late March, early April. Sorry about that. These things are quite nerve-wracking sometimes. So really, really excited about that. My team is down there currently. The drilling is progressing really, really well. It's a little bit slower than what we expected, so hence we're expecting that to finish towards the end of this week. And we are doing dispatches daily to the laboratories just to try and get ahead of the game and not allow too much time between a sample being drilled and a sample sitting at the laboratory. So yes, that's the Mount Catlin project, 7 kilometres north of an operating lithium mine. We have essentially the same rocks which host that lithium mine in our tenure, and we've got observed phases of pegmatite development. Whether that pegmatite is mineralised, we're still waiting on the rock chips for those. But that bodes incredibly well. These systems are usually quite large, multi-phase, and very, very excited about this one. Now, I'll move on to the Wyloo Dome. Now, this is a gold project in the Ashburton. we control approximately 40 kilometres of the prospective Mount McGrath formation, which hosts the Duck Creek Dolomites and all that type of stuff as well, which is, it's a bad analogy because it's about 120 k's away, but Mount Olympus is hosted within the same lithologies as we've got at the Wyloo Dome project. Now, when we first entered this joint venture, we conducted a VTEM airborne electromagnetic survey. And this was off the back of a more regional government-sponsored AEM survey, which is another electrical method dealing with magnetics and stuff like that. So what we noted in the original data was some pretty booming anomalies, some really conductive sites, which to us indicate sulfide development. So incredibly prospective. So what the company did just prior to me starting, actually about a week or two prior to me starting, flew an airborne VTEM server, which was a hell of a lot more detail. And what shook out was 40 plus targets. However, we do also have a lot of other data as well, a lot of historic data where over the years, many previous operators have taken lots of rock chips. Certainly at Golden Marramamba, there's examples of up to nearly 12 grams per tonne, which at surface is phenomenal and consistently mineralised or anomalous rock chips in this area. And lo and behold, we have this fantastic VTEM conductor, which is just lit up. But what we're also observing at Golden Marramamba as well is, and it's not on this map because initially we thought Paulson's was certainly in a different unit. However, at Golden Marramamba, there are some mapped lithologies there which appear to be quite similar to those lithologies at Paulson's, but nevertheless, enough of the neurology. The Golden Marramamba prospect illustrates an incredibly huge VTEM anomaly, coincident with rock chip sampling. So this is a walk-up drill target. Similarly with New Morning as well. This was originally, it was a blind AEM conductor. There was no real explanation at surface to why there was such a conductive unit illustrated at this point. So we're obviously thinking that that's slightly deeper. How deep it is, we're not too sure. But given the fact that some historical drilling in this area, certainly the New Morning prospect, and I've walked this area and I can understand why they drilled it. It was done in the late 80s. It was a pattern drill pattern over an area which was right next to a gossan, which is classic 80s exploration. You see a gossan, if it looks good, you drill it. And that's what they did. And they managed to get 16 metres and 0.7 grams per tonne, which is an incredible amount of smoke. So with these two walk-up targets, we've decided to go, okay, we need to drill these. So we have done our technical work. We have our points on the ground. We have walked those points and believe that they're more than possible to drill. Our next step is, and what we're currently working through, is the heritage clearance with the PKKP in this area, which have been phenomenal to date. They're incredibly busy, just like the labs, because the whole of the Pilbara is essentially covered by these guys. But my plan is to have a drill rig spinning on this project by June 30 this year. I think that's realistic. I know other entities in this area are also having slight issues with delayed surveys, certainly with the heritage, just because they're so busy, which is a good sign, but when you're eager to drill something, it's not so much. But this is the Wyloo Dome project, and very, very buoyed by this project. We have some great targets. We've got a lot of work to do. However, very, very excited about this project, and that's certainly in the gold space. So far we've had a core project being Catlin within lithium. Now our two pipeline projects which we're developing in the background, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. The first one was Wyloo, and the next one is Labyrinth. Now, Labyrinth is situated in South Australia in the Gawler Craton. I think I alluded to my excitement about this project in the introduction of this presentation. But we have this a reasonable sized tenement in amongst all of Indiana's work that they've done there. So not to name drop, but Brom and Barnes and the team have done a fantastic job of getting to a point of understanding and detailing their prospects. So thank you. I've pinched a lot of information from those guys. So what we have here is relatively coincident gold and rare earth soil anomalism, coincident with a unit called the Hiltaba granites, which don't want to use the word notorious, but certainly the right areas to be in South Australia, and certainly with anomalism, which may not appear that high. However, given the regolith over there and the actual juxtaposition against that development of that soil profile, these anomalies are actually quite significant. I know that if you were to say this in the Eastern Goldfields, it'd probably be laughed, but however, I think Tropicana was found after a 6 ppb gold anomaly, but I may be wrong on that one, but it's a nice story. But the thing is with this project is that we can observe the labyrinth shear down in the southeast corner, the southwest corner. What we do believe is that there is a repeated structure that we have seen in our geophysics that trends through our northeastern part of the tenement there. And you can see that through the eastern shear zone there. Lo and behold, what you can see there, that's certainly the gold anomalism. And the rare earth anomalism is pretty well coincident. So what we have done is we've done the auger drilling, we've done the soil sampling, we've done the rock chips. I was actually there in early January this year, January 2nd actually, walking around. It was an interesting place. First time I've ever dealt with wombats, but it was fantastic to be able to walk over these areas and get half an idea of why you've got anomalism. So some of the observations we made in the bedrock certainly boded very well. We're seeing a lot of brecciation, possible sulfide development as well, which is a little bit peculiar, certainly at surface. But what we have is this project with known structural complexity, anomalism at surface, and so we're moving through to drill these targets. We have a heritage survey booked and confirmed. Actually, I think it's on the 17th of this month, so barely a week away. And with the drill rig booked to schedule for early March. I'm very keen to get these anomalies assessed. It is highly prospective. And yeah, I think this will be a good program. We'll at least explain these anomalies and hopefully get some significant intercepts to justify further work. But and I think that's a key message here is the justification of further work. And what we're looking at here is certainly a justification. So that's Labyrinth. Now, I've only spoken about 3 of our projects because they're the ones that we are concentrating at this point in time. Certainly very prominent in the lithium space with our Ravensthorpe Mount Catlin project, incredibly prospective. Gold at the Waialua Dome project, where we have some fantastic anomalies which are just screaming to be drilled. So we'll be doing that. And Labyrinth as well, gold and rare earths. So we've again demonstrated anomalism, of which the next question is, what does it look like in drill chips? So that's what we're doing. So this is a upcoming exploration sort of schedule that we're working with. It is a little bit fluid because things obviously change. But however, we have questions to ask of our projects. And as you can see, top of the list is Mount Catlin. We need to get this geochemistry and this drilling done and dusted. So if there are drilling targets, we have something to go on with. So we're doing a lot of mapping and a lot of other sampling of that area at the moment as well. And it's about developing those drill targets. Similarly at Waialua Dome, we've developed those drill targets. And as you can see, we're moving through the heritage process with the view to drilling as well. And similarly with Labyrinth down the bottom there, we're drilling next month. With the other projects that we have, it's not that the prospectivity is lower. There's certainly with the South Pilbara project, there are administration issues with that project. Several years ago, we had some issues. So as you can see on that one, and the issues were with the Department of Mines, there was some mistakes within the department and it's caused a bit of a brouhaha, and several years later, we're still dealing with that. However, those issues are now put to the side. All the lodged objections, the Department of Mines mistakes, they're all set aside. So theoretically, this is progressing through the normal channels at the Department of Mines of approval. But unfortunately, there's been a bit of a legacy issue with this one, which I'm feverishly trying to sort out in the background as well. But no doubt I'll probably get some questions around Mount Venn. Now, we're still going through a review with Mount Venn. It is a fantastic project. However, Woomera has held this project for a few years, and unfortunately, with the vast majority of the programs have delivered much of the same. So my attitude is that is the quintessential definition of insanity, where to go off and do the same things and expect different results. No, that's not the way to go. We need to sit down, review what we have done. Has it been effective? Okay. If it hasn't, what do we need to do? If it has, okay, that's fine. That target is assessed. What about the next target? And it's that methodical going through, answering those questions and ensuring that we're not, for lack of a better word, wasting money. So we want to do effective exploration. I'm a geologist. I don't like sitting at desks. I like to get out in the field, and so does my staff as well. I've got a young geologist who is chaffing at the bit to get his teeth into a lot of these projects. So, so that's pretty well us in a nutshell. I will just quickly go through the appendices. Oh, no, sorry. I've got the looking forward, maintaining momentum. Now, look, this is what we're about, and this is a pretty good summary. Look, we've got some pretty good assets. And our dossier is simply focus on the large, highly prospective, underexplored land positions of low-carbon mineral deposits. It's a lovely throwaway line, but there are still some areas within Australia, as it is, which is amazing, that are underexplored. The Ashburton is a classic example of that, and there has been literally decades of recorded gold production from these areas. So I'm incredibly excited to get into that. And similarly with Mount Catlin, we're in the right area, we have the right rock, so let's do the work and answer those questions. And that's kind of on the back of our recent exploration success as well, which, look, this may not seem like much, but for us to go out to the Mount Catlin project, look at the data that we have and ask the questions of it and go there and realize that, okay, this unit, which hosts lithium mineralization, is actually a hell of a lot more extensive than what it is. Okay, how much more expensive? And that's what we're assessing now. So, and we're seeing pegmatite development down there as well. Whether it's mineralized, not too sure at this point in time, but nevertheless, it is a part of the system. And so, yeah, then which comes on to significant potential. Our highly prospective lithium project at Mount Catlin, and along with our significant gold project at Wyloo and gold and rare earths at Labyrinth. We have a great pipeline of projects, and we're turning them over, we're looking at them, we're asking the questions, and it's about asking those questions and exploring them and getting to decision points and allowing the market to go, yep, you have something good here, and being rewarded for that. And it's about doing the work. So January's been about setting up the first 6 months, and now it's about telling that story and getting that work done. And similarly, our projects, it's investor-friendly jurisdictions. Australia is a fantastic place to work. I'm obviously Australian. However, I've got over 2 decades of expatriate experience, certainly in Africa, Asia, and also Central America as well. It's lovely to be able to drink the tap water, and it's lovely to not have to deal with landmines. And dealing with farmers, they're fantastic. You actually get a lot of information from them and prospectors out there. But anyway, I'm starting to waffle, and Luke will probably tell me off. But last but not least, it's the board as well, and also my team. We have a history of success. The likes of Ian and David. David Richards has had phenomenal success at his time at Liontown and continues to do that at Minerals 260. Ian Gordon was pivotal in the development of Ramelius and his time at Dreadnought as well. And David Lynn has just been a stalwart of the South Australian mining industry as well. So incredible amount of experience. And I'm relatively young. It was my 45th birthday a couple of days ago. And incredibly, how can I describe this board? Incredibly supportive. They've had success. They know how to get there, and we will get there. So thank you very much. That is it. There are some appendices towards the end about Mount Venn and the Musgraves. Please have a look at those at your leisure. There's some good information on there as well, and the usual disclaimer at the end as well. So please feel free to have a read at your leisure.
Thanks very much, Jason. Yeah, it does sound as though there is a busy period ahead, and
very much so.
Yeah, I know you're looking forward to getting out into the field. As I mentioned previously,
Yes.
there is now the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have of Jason. I will kick that off, just giving people the opportunity to type in the panel on the bottom right-hand corner. So, Jason, I guess it would be good to just get a bit more insight into the process that you're going through in terms of prioritising these projects. Obviously, you touched a bit on how Mount Ben has potentially shifted down in the queue, but yeah, it'd be good to expand a little bit on how you're going through that with the various projects that you do have in the portfolio at the moment.
Oh, look, and there could be an assumption that going with the winds, obviously lithium is quite a hot commodity at the moment and continues to be, and I don't see that waning anytime soon. However, how we rank our projects is initially on the technical side. So it is a bare bones look and assessment of the work to date and what we can do. So similarly with the likes of the Wailu, we went through the geology. What are the rocks telling us? Is there prospectivity here? Yes, there is. Similarly with Mount Catlin, regardless of the fact that it's 7 kilometres north of a operating lithium mine, it's about the rocks. It is, okay, do I actually have the right rocks here? There's absolutely no point holding ground that is maybe a few kilometres away from a mine site, but it's in a completely different host unit and known to be barren. However, with our Mount Catlin one, looking at the facts and within the boundaries of that tenement, we have the right rocks. We're seeing phases of pegmatite development. And lo and behold, when we start to lift our eyes and look around, the outside areas are also telling us that we're in the right area. We have a trend coming from that mine with 2 prospects outside of our tenure, but it does show that that trend goes into our tenure and further north. So that is how we go about our business of ranking targets, ranking projects and targets. It is initially about the rocks, what they can deliver, what we can assume about those rocks, and those questions we can ask, and whether or not that is doable. There's no point going off to PNG or something like that when you know there's some issues there. But then the corporate side starts to come in. Look, and so hence, obviously lithium is very, very, very hot at the moment. Lo and behold, we've actually got a really, really good lithium project. So let's start talking about that and developing that and doing our job. And similarly with gold and rare earths as well. We have some other projects in there which, regardless of the market wins, they require exploration, and the exploration is justified based on the information that we have in present. So taking a rather clinical view and being a little bit harsh on these projects. And it's about looking for the faults, looking for the things that aren't prospective. And that's just it. If you don't find those, you end up, and it's a bit of a pessimistic way of looking at it, but you don't find those and you start to see a lot of the benefits for it and the justification to doing the exploration. So that's how we go about prioritising. And to touch on Mount Ven, as I said before, going out and doing more of the same and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. We need to take stock. We have done a lot of work out there. It's over 10,000 odd metres of drilling. Gotten some really, really good intercepts, but we haven't managed to actually let this project fly. Even on the gold aspects as well, three bears is a fantastic stack load over a couple of kilometres, but it's low grade. So our questions there are, okay, is there a possibility for higher grade shoots within this? What's the structural setting? What else are we seeing? What other drilling orientation may be more beneficial? So it's those questions we're asking of the project. So regarding Mount Ven, we are going through a review of that project. And it's based on, okay, we have done this, it has not worked. Okay, what else do we need to do? And that's in conjunction with our joint venture partner Kazali, and a range of really, really high quality consultants who are a damn sight smarter than me.
All right, great. And yeah, I guess both Ian and David Richards have a bit of a track record when it comes to project incubation.
Yeah.
Is that how you're looking at what you're doing at Woomera to a degree? Or?
Very much so. Very much so. We've always got our eyes open. And with the caliber of my board, I hate to use another cliche, no stone will be left unturned. And that's just it. With the projects we have in our books at the moment, we are concentrating on those. We're certainly not distracted by bright, shiny things off in the distance. We have questions to ask of those projects, and we're going to ask them and do our work. But certainly with the likes of Ian and David, and also the other David as well, there's lots of Davids involved. They are a wealth of knowledge and very cognizant of the exploration cycle and what it takes to not so much just, or certainly David Richards discover, but it's the development and taking an asset and seeing it through and having that nous of knowing when to progress and when to maybe exit. And I hate to speak like that, but that is a reality of exploration. Some projects just don't have deposits. But with the depth and breadth of my board, I'm certainly getting asked the right questions of these projects by the board to ensure that it comes down to not wasting money.
Okay, well, that's great. Again, Jason, we haven't had any questions come through, so hopefully we've done a good job of answering those in the discussion.
Yeah. Oh, look, if I could just jump in there though, like
sure.
My email and mobile phone number is at the bottom of every announcement. Look, do prefer emails because then at least I can actually get to it. Phone calls are a little bit difficult. I just can't take them all the time. But text messages and emails, please, if you've got a question, and if I can legally answer it, I will. So yeah, I'm not adverse to shareholder interaction, even if it's, I understand shareholders do get annoyed. And that's cool. I'd just like that opportunity to obviously explain what we're doing and not going to other forums to get their answers.
Okay, and yeah, I think the intention going forward is to make this at least a semi-regular thing. So yeah, look, stay tuned, and I believe a recording of this will be made available through the company website and the social media platforms. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and yeah, we'll be in touch with you again soon.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.